Okay, so here we just created some test.txt. Okay, which contains two lines, hello Python, and here is the data. So we are just opening that file. So with the syntax, you can give any name here, variable name, which equals to open of the file name. Okay, after that you have to specify comma and you can give the mode. The mode can be like read mode or write mode, that we'll discuss later. So default it will take read mode. If you want to specify for write mode, you can give. Okay, you can give comma and you can specify the mode. Okay, so we just open with the read mode. If you print f is an object of this file. Okay, so if you want to read a data from this file, you can give like this f dot read of. Here you have to specify the number of characters, how many characters you want to read. You can specify 1 2 3 100 10 like that. Okay, so we'll just see that. See, the first it is printing the object open file name, and mode is r. This is the memory location. Okay, next what we are printing, we are printing f dot read of 100 characters. We are reading a 100 characters from this file. Okay, so it is printing all because this is the less than 100 characters, so it is printing all. If we specify only 5 characters, this will read only 5 characters and it has to print. So this is the data, so 5 characters hello only it has to print 1 2 3 4 5. Let's see now, only hello. So similarly, if you want to read more data, you can increase the character count here. Okay, so we just opened a file. So if you want to close the file, you can close like this. F dot close is the function. Okay, using this you can close. Okay, file got closed. But after closing the file, if you just execute the same function here, we are trying to read data from the file because file is closed here. So if you execute this line, it will throw an error. So we'll see what error it will throw. See, it is throwing a value error input operation on closed file because the file is closed here. If you still access the file, it is throwing an error. Okay, so that is how we can open a file and we can read and we can close. Okay, so this is the syntax. File object name you can specify, open file name and access mode. So the modes are like this. Read opens for read only mode. You can open and you can read. You can't change it, you can't write and you can't change anything. So the next mode is rb. Rb is open a file in binary format. Okay, this is a normal, this is a binary. Next, r plus opens a file for both reading and writing. You can read the data and you can write the data. rb plus similarly like rb, you can read the data as a binary and you can write the data from binary format. Okay, so if you specify w, it will be for write. If you want to append the data, sorry, if you want to modify the data in the file, you can use w. It will create a new file. Okay, wb is nothing but writing in a binary format. W plus, you can write the data and you can read the data. Similarly, wb plus, you can write and read the data in a binary format. So here is a for appending mode. If you want to add the data to the file, then you can use ab is for appending mode in binary format. A plus, you can append the data and you can read it. Similarly, AB plus, you can appending the data and reading the data in a binary format. Okay, so mostly we'll use R and R plus and W plus. Sometimes if you want to add a data to the end of the file, you can use a append mode. Okay. So, so default it will be read mode. If you want to specify the mode, you can specify R. Okay, so you're telling that the file is opening as a read for reading purpose. You don't want to change anything. I mean, you don't want to modify the file, and you can specify only R. If you execute the same, okay, it is working. Opened as a read mode, and you read the data. Okay, so read we discussed. We can give the count. Similarly, we have okay. So we have one more function read lines. So that will give which will read all lines in the file and it will return to a list. So if you give read like here, you can specify the number of characters here. So let's say you don't know how what is the length of the file size, how many lines are there, how many characters are there, then you can't give exactly here. So in that case we'll use read lines. Okay, so f dot read lines. So this will return all lines into a list. So you can redirect to list here. So you just print lines. So this has to read all lines in the file. So this file is having 2 lines. So this list will contain only 2 lines. See, the first line is Python. The first one is hello Python, and the second one is here is the data. But if you see here, only Python is printing, and second line is here is the data. So why? The reason is we already read 5 characters. So from the next fifth character, it will read. So we have few more functions here. Tell. So tell will tell that uh, what is that pointer location. So we read 5 characters. So then it will move to the. So we open the file. See, this is the file. If you say read 5 characters, the pointer location it will move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this 5 characters it will read and it will go to the position will be at P. Okay, so if you want to see the position, you can give the pointer position, you can give tell. Okay, this will tell the position of the pointer. See, the position is 5. If you give here, initially it will be 0. Okay, so if we give f dot tell here, the initial position will be 0. So after that we gave f dot read 5. So 5 characters it will read, so it will move to the fifth character. Then the again position, if you check, it will give the after fifth character position. See, first position is 0 and we are reading 5 characters, and the position it will change to fifth. 0 1 2 3 4, it will move to the fifth character. Okay, so the position is 5, and again we are reading f dot read line. So from the current position, fifth position it will read. So fifth position is nothing but, so this is the data, right? Fifth is space, so space python, and this is one line, and here is the data, and this is second line. So the list is containing two lines, and it is adding a slash line also. Slash line is nothing but a new line characters. Okay, that's how it will have. So let's say instead of read, if you have the read lines function here. Okay, so this has to print from 0th location to till the end, and here the position will change. See, the current position is 0 and it is printing two lines from the starting. So hello line is the first line and the second is here is the data. Okay, so now the position is end of the file. So it will print last character. So it will start from 0 1 2 3. The last character is slash n. So that is the 30 position. So instead of that, if you want to change the pointer position, you can use one more function, f dot seek. You can change the pointer position. So let's say we are at 30. If you want to change to 10, you can give. See here the position is 30, but I am resetting to 10th location from 10 to 0. Okay. Again, if you print read lines, so that will print from 10th character. Okay, so 10th character is 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So from around 10, from n it has to print. See, the position is 30, but again we reset from 10, so it is printing from on slash n, and again here is the data. So this is the one line and this is the second line, so that's what it's printing two lines. Okay, similarly you can reset and you can find the position of the pointer, okay, using tell and seek. Okay, similarly if you want to reset to first location, you can give 0 comma 0. So if you specify 0 0, so you are telling that pointer has to go to the starting of the file, so it will print again from starting. Okay, so we'll execute this. See, point position is 0 here, we read the data, and again the pointer position is 30, and we reset, so we reset to 0 0, right? So we can print the position of the pointer. See, 0 and 30, again we reset to 0, so that's why it is 0, and again it is printing. Okay, that is how we can reset the pointer position. And if you want to know the position of the pointer, you can use tell function. And if you want to read lines, you can use f dot read lines. And if you want to read few characters, like if you know the count, you can give the count of the characters like this. Okay, so now we have a lines list, so which is containing the list of line. So you can use for loop for line in lines. Okay, see, so for line in lines, print line, I'm just printing line. So if you see, it is giving extra space here. So why? Because this line is having one slash n, so slash n is having one enter, and again print will give one more enter, so that is what it is printing two lines. Okay, yeah, so that is how we can read the data. So if you want to write something into the file, you can open the file in write mode. Same, you can give the file handler. I'm just giving fw and open off. You can give the file name. I'm just hope we have to give the mode. The mode is write. Okay, you can give print fw. Open file data write.txt, mode is w at the particular location. Okay, uh, now you want to write some data to the file, so you have to give f dot write of what you want to write. You can give the string what you want to write in the file. See, this has executed. You can see here that the file is created or not. See, the file is created, and we can see the data. See, writing data to the file. Auto executed, writing data to the file. Okay, so that is how you can create a file and you can add the data to the file. So once you are done with your operations, you can close the file. Okay, see, previously it was created at 2217. but again we re-execute the script, so again it will create a new file. So the creation time is 20 to 18. Okay, so you can see that whenever you execute it will create a new file. Okay, so that is the use of write mode. So now you just created, and if you want to read that, again you can open. So instead of storing to a list, I'm just directly giving like this for line in fr.readline. So this readlines will give the list like this. I'm just directly giving here and I'm printing line. So this has to print the data whatever we wrote to the file. See, writing data to the file. The line has printed. Okay. So here for first we just opened with write mode and we wrote the data to the file, and again we opened a new file with read mode. So instead of these, you can you can uh, you can combine these two modes in a single statement. I'm just opening a file. And you can specify both read write. So what is the mode of read write? You can go here, R plus, the mode we are specifying. So using this R plus mode, you can read the data and you can write the data. So the file is already there. So I just wanted to see. You can see this writing data to the file. Okay, the line has printed, and so if you want to write something, you can dot. The syntax is write off. I'm just writing this line as well, and you wrote the line again. You can read that. You just so instead of opening a new file, we just opened with two modes. So we are just reading and writing, and again we are reading. Okay, we'll see the output now. So this is writing data to the file. So this statement, and we wrote writing another line. Yeah, why? Because so if you print the position here, so this is printing the position is 24, and after that there is no line, so that's what it's printing now. See, first we are reading lines. So that is printing a list. So if you print the pointer location, so that is printing 24. Oh, so is it okay now? Uh, okay. So can I know till what time you're not able to hear me? 2 minutes. Uh, okay. So so Viswas, did you hear till here? Till writing data to a file. Hello, Viswaja. Okay, Vishwas, are you able to hear me now? Okay. So, did you hear this writing and read mode for file? Okay. So, previously we discussed reading a data from file, and similarly, if you want to create a file, you can use write mode. So now we are combining both. You can read the data from file, and as well as you can write the data to the file. So here I just created a new handler and open of the file name with R plus. R plus is nothing but read and write. So first I read the data using the read lines. So that is reading all lines to the list. So if you print that, this is how. So there is only one line, so it is printing one line into the list. So next I'm printing the pointer position. So uh, we read all lines, I mean entire data, so the position is the last of the file. So the last of the file is 24th position. And so now what I'm doing is I'm just writing some data to the file. So the data is slash, and I'm giving and writing another line. So this content I'm writing to the file. And again, if you print the file pointer location, so the cursor will move to the till here. So here 24, so 25 it will start until the end of the line. If you print that, it will print the new one. See, the new cursor is 45. New point is 45. So if you try to read the data using like this, so the point tree is almost to the end. So if you read here, nothing will be there. So that is what it is printing empty list. You can see empty list because the cursor is already end of the file. So now what I'm doing is I'm just changing the cursor position to the first one. So you can change the position like this, seek 0 0. So the cursor will go to the starting of the file. So now if you read the data, so it will print whole data. So the first what we created, writing data to the file, and next we just give writing another line. So this is what we updated later. So we just added with slash n, but the slash n is a new line here. It will create like this. See, so the file is having two lines. So that is what it is printing two elements in the list. Okay, like this you can combine with the two modes. Now we'll see how we can do with the append mode. So you can so the append it will open as a write mode, but so whatever you add the data, it won't create a new file. So the file is already exist. So whatever you write here, that will append to the current file. So I'm just appending p dot write of hello. Okay. So this is the existing data. So the line has to append here. We just added here. You can see it happened here. Okay, at last. But the rest data is same. Okay, so that is the use of append. So similarly, you can use the combination as append and writing as or append and read like this. A plus you can give reading and appending mode. Okay. So and so okay. So we have a few object attributes here. So these objects will tells that the status of the file. Okay, so there are three things. One is file dot close, so this will return the status whether the file is closed or not. Next, file dot mode, so this will give the mode of the file, how you open. And file dot name, this will return the name of the file. Okay, we'll see that now. See, file closed false because file is not closed. Okay, so if you give closed file, so you closed fw. Okay, if you give fw, just show true because this will close. Okay, so it is giving true. Similarly, if you want to print a file name, okay, file name datawrite.txt. You can see fw file name, this one. See, the mode is w. Fw will just open with w. Now we'll give for w. Hello. Okay. So are you able to hear me now, Vishnuja? Okay. So we have few file attributes here. So those are like file object attributes. Those are like closed and name and mode. So if you give file object dot close, so that will tells the status of the file whether it is closed or not. So if you give file object dot name, so that will give the name of the file, and if you give mode, that will return the mode of the file what you open. So here I'm just giving frw dot mode. So frw is we just opened as a read plus. So we'll see now. So that has to print read plus. See, that is printing read mat, read plus, read and write. So similarly, I just gave fw dot name. So fw, what is the file name here? So read write. Similarly, if you give f, file name is test.txt. You can see which file you open, test.txt. So that is how we can use these three. So if you want to know the status of file closed or not, you can use closed. Mode you can use for mode. If you want to know the name of the file, you can use name. Okay. So yeah, I think relents positions. Yeah, I think we are done with the file handling. So I'll just summarize the file handling. So you can open a file like this, open a file name, and you can give the mode here. So default, if you not specify any mode, that will treat as a read. If you specify a mode, that will treat as specific mode. You can give read plus, that means read and write. So w you can give w plus, write and read and write, and a for append, a plus is append and read. Okay. So if you want to read data from file, you can specify the file object dot read of, you can give the number of characters, how many characters you want to read. Else we have one more, read lines. So that will read all lines and it will return into the list. So every line is one element in a list. Okay. And we have two functions here. Tell will tells the pointer location, so the cursor location it will tell. So seek, we can adjust the location. So once you read 5 characters, the cursor will go to the fifth location. So if you want to read from starting, you can uh, rechange the position of the cursor using the seek function. Okay. So similarly, if you want to write a data into the file, you can use write method. So you can use file object dot write of the string whatever you want to write. So for closing, you can use file handler dot close. So once you give this, the handler will close, I mean the file will close. You can't access anything from here. Okay. So that is on. So these are the file object attributes. Okay. So this is how we can use a files. You can open a file and you can read and you can edit and you can do your operations. So okay. So are you clear with this file handling, Vishwaja? If you're clear, we'll go to the next class. Okay. So this model we'll discuss later. And okay. So the next one is exceptions. What is exception? So exception is nothing but a runtime error. So if you know the error before executing the script, you can fix it. But few things you don't know. So those will come once you execute the script. So those errors will call it as a exceptions. So those also we have to handle. So let's say I want to open up some file. See here I'm just opening hello.txt with read mode and I'm just printing the object. Okay. So if you execute this, so you thought this file was there and you try to access the file. See, so this error you got while executing this line. So here there is no syntax error and nothing. See the error is input output error, no such file or directory. Okay, so this will call it as a runtime error. So you can handle this will call it as exception runtime error. You can handle this. So we'll show that now. So blindly you are opening a file. If the file is not there, I mean if you get any exception, you can give some statements what to do. So for that, so you can handle exception like this. You can put the statement in try. So the syntax is like this. Okay, you can give try and your expression and accept what you are expecting. The exception name you have you can give. So if this exception occur, you can use some statement. Again you can give a multiple exceptions. Okay, and finally you can give else. If you not find any exception in else, so you can give some statements. Okay, I'll show you that now. So try the indentation you can use properly. Okay, except if you know the exception name you can give. So let's say, so this is exception or error name. See. So normally if your exception occur, if you not handle, what it will do, it will throw an error and it will skip the execution. It will fail here itself. Okay. But if you handle exception, it won't fail. You can do it. If you accept the following error, you can write a operation what to do. Except syntax error. Let's say if it is a syntax error. let's say here I'll remove one code. Okay, this is a syntax error, right? So see, so syntax is not allowing because if the syntax is not wrong, so Python itself it will wait. It won't compile first. So if the syntax is properly, then it will compile. So the runtime it will throw an error. So the first what we did, the mistake is syntax. So while compiling itself, it will come to know that syntax is wrong. So it will fail before executing. Okay, but syntax wise it's fine, but when you execute only this will come to know whether the file is there or not. So then it is failing while running. Okay, so it is throwing IO error. Okay, similarly you can give so if you know that specific exception, you can specify only one exception. You don't know how many what exception it can write, so you can specify like this: try, and you can give the statement and accept exception 1 and accept exception 2, exception 3, exception 4, like that. You can expect if any the below exception comes, you can handle. So what to do if you get IO error? So let's say if you get IO error, that means this file is not there. Then how you can handle? You can open a file, hello.txt as a read mode. Okay, so what we are writing here, so if the file is not there, if you get IO error, so let's say we are creating a file, so we have to open in write mode. So we are creating file and adding hello data. see IO error. If you see hello.txt is created, hello is there. If you execute again, this is executing and it's not finding any exception, it's not throwing any exception because the file is existed. Okay, so in that case you can give else statement, try except exception 1, exception 2, else. If you not find any exception, then what do you want to print? You can give your operation something. Okay, so if exception 1 occurs, this following statement exit. If exception 2, the next statement else. If there is no exception, you can give the whatever the statement you want to execute. Okay, so like this we can use. So that is the else section here. Okay, so and you can mention multiple exceptions in a single line. Okay, that is like this. So stuff like this, except value error comma. Okay, you can give two exceptions like this, except value error or IO error. You can do some operation whatever you want. Okay, like this you can mention multiple exceptions here. If you know the particular exception you can give, and else section you can give. And we have one more finally. So finally what do you want to do? uh, See, you just opened one file, and if there is some particular exception, you can handle here. If there is no exception, else what? You can do some operation. So I'm just printing no exception found, success. And finally, so if the below statements occur or not, but this statement will execute. So if there is an exception, this statement will execute. If there is no exception, this statement will execute. But this will also execute. Finally, that will also execute. So those things, if you want to specify, you can add in now. Finally, so finally, okay, you can specify. So this code, what it will execute? First it will execute the code here. If it find any runtime error and exception, it will check the below exceptions and it will handle. So it won't find any exception and it will come here else, and it will execute finally code also. See, there is no exception, so else section it went, and it print the statement, and finally this also it executed. Code success in final block. So instead of that, if you give I gave invalid file. See, IO error means here it went, except IO error, and it's printing IO error, and open it again, it's printing, and it won't execute next exception, and it will go to else spot. Then it will go to the finally code success in final. Okay, so that is how you can use the exceptions. So what is the main use of exception? So so let's say you are opening one file. So if you know that whether the file is exist or not, so instead of that you are getting some data from some other script or runtime, you are getting data. So you want to validate that, you don't know whether it's a valid input or not. So in that case you can put in a try block, and you can write the code here. You can accept, if you know the specific exception you can give the exception name, and you can handle it. So now you know the exception name, you can specify. Now you don't know the exception name, so it can be anything. So in that case, how you will handle? You will just give try uh, I equal to int of int of 10. I'm just print I, except you don't know the exception what can become. So in that case you can give exception print exception occurred. Else, let's see now. See, no exception, it's printing 10 and no exception because this is a valid. So now I'm just giving, okay. So this is the string cannot convert to integer. I mean, this is not a numeric, so it will throw an error, exception is thrown. Okay, so it is catching here, and we are printing some exception occurred error message. Okay, instead of that, you want to print the exact error, you can give argument. So this will catch exception here, and this is the argument. You can print the argument. See here, exception occurred, and the argument, I mean, what is the message? You can give as a string. So it will be the some message. So you're connecting the string and printing here. So the message is invalid literal for int with the base 10 high. Okay, so that is the message. Okay, so you can catch like this. So this is the argument of an exception. You can give like this, except exception name and argument. So the argument will catch the error of the exception. Okay. So here we have listed few things. So the standard exceptions, those are like exception. This is the base class for all exceptions, and stop iteration. If you are iterating any elements, this exception will come. If it fails, system exit. If it fails, system exit. there is a specific model sys dot exit. So this will tell you in coming classes. So this is the one error. And standard error and arithmetic error. So if you do any arithmetic operations, it will give arithmetic overflow, floating point, zero division error. If you give like 1 by 0, so those it will give a zero division error, assertion error, and attribute error. If you give invalid attributes, it will give attribute error, end of the file error, import error. Okay, if you are importing invalid package, this will show import error, and keyboard interrupt. Okay, so while running the script, if you press Ctrl C, that will be like keyboard interrupt, then that also you can handle. And index error. Okay, so index error mostly you'll get it like you have one list. So if you are getting out of the index, let's say the list is having 10 elements, but if you are trying to get 11th element, then it will throw an index error. So I'll show an example for index error. So let's say instead of this, I'm just giving L equal to just different 1 2 3. So if I print L of, so 0 1 2 I can access. If I print 3, so 3 is not there, then it will throw index error. See, index error, list index out of range. Okay, the exception is index error and the list index out of range. Okay, so that's giving list index out of range. Similar name error and key error. If you are using a dictionary and if you are getting invalid key, if you're trying to get invalid key, that will throw key error and IO error, syntax error, indentation error. If you miss any indentation, to throw an indentation error, typo error, value error, and runtime error. So these are the basic exceptions where you can found. Okay, so now we know how to handle the exception if you get runtime. So instead of that, if you want to raise your own exception, okay. So if you want to raise some exception, you can use raise keyword, raise exception name you can specify. Syntax is exception name like so I'm just specifying new error and comma what you want to give the error name. Okay, See, if you can raise on specific exception, so the default exceptions you can raise using raise keyword. So raise the exception name, so it can be like input error, you can specify anything, input output error I specify, and the message what you want to print. See, IO error, I'm just printing the text. Okay, so like this you can raise. So this is the predefined now. So if you want to raise your custom exception, you can create a class, so using the exception name, and you can use here. So that we'll discuss in next class. So after once you discuss the object oriented programming like classes and objects, so after that we'll see how to create a user defined exception. Okay, you can create a class with the particular name, and then you can use raise the new class name and the arguments you can pass. Okay, so like this you can raise. If you want to if you want to raise your own exception, you can raise here. Okay, next we have asset. So we have one more asset exception like assertion exception. If you want to raise that kind of exception, you can use asset keyword. Okay. So if you raise with the asset, so that will treat as assertion error. That is exception name is assertion error. So the syntax is like this. You can give asset keyword and expression and arguments. Okay. So if the statement is true, the expression is true, then it will raise the exception. The next exception what you give. Okay. Let's say we have some num equal to under asset num equal to under comma the error. Num is 100, not 100. Okay, see, if the statement is true, then there won't be an exception. If statement is false, I mean if it fails, then it will throw an exception. So that is the use of asset. Okay, so it's not executing because there is no exception. So if you give 1 or 2, then the num is equal to 100, it's a fails, then it will execute the assertion. See, so here it is raising an error exception, then it's failing here itself. So that is the reason it's not going the next line. So I'm just commenting that. So number I just defined as 110, and a set of 10, a set of the expression you can give num not equal to 10. If the statement is false, then it will execute the string whatever you give it. This is the like error message. Okay, num not equal to 10. So this is false. So then it will go here. It is throwing assertion exception. The exception will come here, assertion error, and the string whatever you give num is not 100. Okay, so if you specify 11 here, that means num is not equal to 10. It's true, then it won't create any exception. Okay, so it's not throwing any exception. Okay, so here we are raising. So if you want to handle that, you can put in a try block and exception, and you can accept this and you can continue. Okay, that will be like try. I'm just raising one exception IO error, so it will raise exception and accept IO error, and I'm raising. So I'm just catching IO error comma e as argument and int comma e. Okay, I'm just printing the arguments. We'll see now. See, however, the argument is test. Okay, it's not failing here because we are just handling. If you not handle, it will raise the exception and it will fail here itself. It will skip the execution. It will stop there itself. Okay, that is how we can handle exceptions. So here, if you see the try, catch, try, accept, and finally, you can use. So if you use try, you can give accept block, and there is these two are optional. You cannot, you don't need to give else and final. These two are optional. If you want, we can give else spot and finally. Try accept also you can give finally, and try accept else also you can give. Okay. So these two are like optional. Try accept and you can give finally also. Okay. So that is the main use of exceptions. So are you clear with exceptions? Okay, fine. So if you are like if you write a script for runtime, like you're getting some data from somewhere, like you're handling a database connection, or if you're opening a files, then you just better to put in try block, because if the file is not exist, it may fail. So your script will stop. So better you have to put in a try block and accept some exceptions and handle it properly. Then your script won't stop, it will keep continue. Okay, so that is how we can do. I think we are enough for today. So tomorrow we'll discuss about object oriented and regular expressions. Okay. So do you have any doubts, Susa?